Raptors dropped their third straight game as, well, the game's not technically over yet, still 30 seconds to go. Oh, there it is. 133-118 to the Denver Nuggets. And coming into the game today, I had this weird gut feeling. It was kind of that, not a very good one, because you look at the matchup and you look at what happened to them in their last game, and you think about how things might go. They got crushed by the Clippers on the road. They're coming back home. The Toronto Raptors lost 2 straight games, had the emotional rough loss to the Charlotte Hornets. Now you think of the matchup, and you think of Nikola Jokic, the Joker, being one of the great big men in basketball. And you think of who the Raptors should have to guard against him. Well, a guy like Serge Ibaka and a guy like Marc Gasol would be perfect to guard him. Problem is, you got neither of them. And now you have to try and do everything possible with guys like Rondae Hollis-Jefferson and Chris Boucher to shut him down. And you just can't do that. I mean, I hate to say it, everyone, but what was Jokic's final stats? He had a triple-double, 23, 18, and 11. Did you expect anything less? They did hold him to, never mind, he was 8 of 11 shooting, right? He got to the free throw line 9 times. He was a force to be reckoned with out there, as you expected. And the problem with not having a guy like Ibaka and Gasol, it's more of a team-wide thing. The reason I say that is because, yes, okay, let's say you have Rondae on Jokic. But now you got to bring a double because he can't do it on his own. And that leaves somebody open. And then you got to scramble defense and hope to God something good happens out of it. But if you had a guy like Gasol or Ibaka, you'd be able to let them go one-on-one with this guy and have everyone with their setup defense. So it does a lot, especially when it's a guy like Jokic, when it's one of their best players, and you're not able to guard him, right? So, I mean, it's just an incredibly tough thing to do in a game like this, all right? But let's get to the numbers here and talk about what happened, all right? First quarter, the defense was nowhere to be found. 40-32 in favor of Denver after one quarter. You did score 32, so you were kind of hanging around offensively. And, in the second quarter, the Raptors dug in a little bit more defensively, but their offense really got into a nice rhythm. 37-33 Raptors in that quarter. So with that being said, you're only down by 4 at halftime. You're in pretty good shape. The Raptors do end up tying the game 60-60, and they hang around, but the problem was you let them back in it, and it's 27-27 there in the third quarter. You're tied after 3 quarters heading into the fourth. Not tied. You're down by 4 after 3 quarters of play heading to the fourth quarter. And in that fourth quarter, we all had that feeling that the altitude, because it's really a huge factor. I mean, I didn't realize how much of a factor it actually was until you watch one of your teams that don't usually play in that kind of, scenario, I guess. You watch one of your teams play in those games, and you look at a guy like Siakam, and I think it was Powell, guys like that. Like the beginning of fourth quarter, you don't think they're going to be gassed and exhausted because they never usually are, but they're on their hands are on their knees and they're gasping for air because it is tough. Denver's obviously used to that, and then when they come obviously to anybody else who's not in the mountains, their lungs are already accustomed to less oxygen, so they get more. So it was a really tough thing, mixed with the injuries, mixed with, hey, look, Denver played a good game. I'm not going to say it was clearly on injuries and making excuses and everything, because the Denver Nuggets, they're 41-19 for a reason, guys. They're a very good basketball team. Yeah, they got blown out by LA on the road, but they're a team. I think they're second in the Western Conference. That's a really good team. And to go there and to be shorthanded and to be able to compete as hard as the Raptors did. Again, I thought they did an all right job tonight with the cast that they had and the team you were facing. Look, Denver's a great team. They knocked down a lot of their shots. What are they shooting from 3? They had 18 threes. They shot 50%. And they shot 57% from the field. When you can't play defense like that, when you're losing some of your big guys on the inside and they're dominating you down there, it's really, really hard to take a game over and grasp a game. Because every time a Raptors made a run, give the ball to Jokic, see what happens. And that's really what happened, and they just got dominated sometimes. Now, were there some officiating calls that we all don't like? Yeah, of course. There's always going to be that on both sides of the ball. And I'm not going to sit here and complain about the officials because there's no point. From both sides, from Denver fans to Raptor fans, we all know what they're all about. All right, so let's get to the team stats. So we shot 46% from the field, which isn't terrible. The problem is you couldn't knock down threes. They were 10 for 38 from three, 26%. Not pretty. They did a great job at the free throw line, a big reason of why they were in this ball game. 26 for 29, big time there. And the rebounds, obviously with guys like Jokic, you're not going to be able to win many rebound battles. You were -5 in that category. However, you won the offensive glass 8-7, which is quite interesting. Moving the basketball, look, they are a team that moves the ball extremely well, and you saw that today. At one point, I think they had like 26 assists on 27 made field goals. I mean, that is the definition of ball movement. They ended with 38 assists. Raptors have 24, which is respectable, but again, defense wasn't there for the Raptors tonight. 9-6 in steals. Heck, I think OG had 7 of the 9. The guy's ridiculous. We'll talk about him shortly. 4 blocks to their 1. We only had the 11 turnovers. They had 16. But the points of the paint, the Raptors actually won the category 62-54. Second chance points, 14-8 in favor of them. Yet we had the offensive rebounds lead, which is quite an interesting number there. And it was just, a game where every time you made a little push, they pushed back. And it was that rough first quarter and a rough start to the second quarter that really killed you. Because as we've said against good teams before, when you get down that big and you try to come back against a really good team, like they tried to do against Milwaukee, yes, they were up, but then they went down and they tried to come back, and against a team like that, you just can't do so. Especially health-wise where you're at. And you look at the Raptors team, you look at the way they performed today. A guy like Pascal Siakam frustrated the living snot out of me today. He shot 6 of 21. He was 1 of 7 from 3. Yeah, he had 2 steals. Yeah, he had a block. But for me, when Pascal is at his best, he is driving and doing stuff in the paint, trying to back guys down, right? And trying to go from there, getting guys in the post and seeing what he can do. But I saw a lot of early on in this game, a lot of, I can't drive, I'm just going to take a jump shot, or you're going to give me space, I'm just going to chuck up a 3. And he wasn't working. Pascal Siakam was not good today. And when he was driving, which is what they were expecting him to do, he forced the shots up instead of getting contact and kicking it to somebody else. I remember one play. You remember the one that they reviewed to see if it was an offensive foul? And if it was a defensive foul, but because that guy tried to take a charge, and they called it an offensive foul, and the Raptors reviewed it, and it stayed as an offensive foul. I watched that play, okay? And Pascal's coming down on basically a one-on-one with the guy who took the charge. I don't forget who it was. It could be Gary Harris or something. But I look to the corner, and I see Norman Powell wide open. No one even remotely close to him. And if I'm Pascal Siakam, I mean, we saw with Kawhi Leonard, I'm not trying to compare the two, but we saw a lot with Kawhi last year. Whenever that guy got doubled or something, he moved it to somebody else. What did they do today when Jokic got doubled? They moved the ball, and they got the wide open shot. Pascal had the defender ready to take that charge, kick it to the corner for Powell, stop up, don't make that charge happen. Powell's got a wide open 3, knocks it down, you got 3, but instead he takes the charge, hoping for the blocking foul, doesn't get it, and they get the ball back the other way. There was a lot of plays today. I thought Pascal was really trying to force a lot of stuff. And I love Pascal, don't get me wrong. Obviously he's the Raptors' primary offensive weapon. But we all know, all Raptor fans know that this Raptor team is more than just a one-man show. We have Pascal, yeah. We have Lowry. You have Norman Powell. You have Fred when he was playing. You have all these guys that can make an impact. And when Pascal's struggling, he just starts forcing up shots. Who does that remind you of? Norman Powell. When he started struggling, a couple years ago, and quite a bit of last year as well. Excuse me. He was forcing shots, tries to get to the basket. 2 guys are on him. He still tries to make that shot, right? And what is he doing now? He's letting the game come to him, playing his defense. If he gets a shot, he takes a shot. If not, he kicks it to someone else. But what I'm seeing with Pascal Siakam, as much as his numbers are great and everything, the shooting percentages for him have dropped significantly. I mean, what is he shooting now? 46%, where of the first 30 games of the year, maybe, he was shooting over 50. You know why? He wasn't forcing shots. He was letting the game come to him. And then they started doubling him, but he kept trying to do it. And that was the problem. And I think he was having a real big issue today. And another reason why I didn't like what he was doing, OG Anunoby had a career-high 32 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists on 12 of 16 shooting, which is incredible. 5 of 5 from the line. He was 50% from 3, 3 of 6. The guy had 7 steals in the game. Are you kidding me? He had 6 at halftime. And he doesn't take shots down the stretch. And I'm watching Pascal take contested shot after contested shot after contested shot. Find the guy that's hot. Let me put it into perspective. If they start using OG as a primary option and he's hot, what does that force them to do? It forces them to guard him up high. It forces them to guard him hard. Maybe even double him. What does that now mean? Opens up somebody else. But instead, they don't go to that. They keep the ball with Pascal and Kyle Lowry. And OG's just sitting here like, my career high, I'm just sitting here chilling. Like, no! Use them! I don't know. That's my opinion on that. He only took 16 shots where Pascal took 21. Powell took 17 shots. I don't know why you don't give the guy who's red hot the ball. Now, Powell did shoot 9 of 17, so he was over 50%. He had a really good game. But again, that's the problem I'm having, is that when a guy's hot, they're going away from him, and that's not what you want to do. Now, Hollis-Jefferson in the starting unit didn't do a bad job. He did everything he could against Jokic. 9 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 3 of 6 shooting, 3 of 3 from the line. He had 2 blocks in the game. He was only a -2 when he was out there, and he started the game against Nikola Jokic. So, I do give Rondé a lot of credit for stepping in and doing everything he can against a guy that should dominate him every single night, as he kind of did, a triple-double. And you look at a guy like Kyle Lowry. He shot 4 of 14 from the field, guys. I don't know how many times I saw in this game where the Raptors had a chance to take the lead and missed shots were occurring, right? And it was just a really tough time to watch this game. 2 of 10 from 3 for Lowry. Had 17 points, 5 boards, 8 assists. Yeah, that's great. And he took a few charges today, which is nice. He was a -9 when he was on the floor. Norman Powell, as I said, big game. 24 points and 6 boards. 9 of 17 shooting. 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Problem, though, 1 of 6 from 3. Other than OG Anunoby, who was 3 of 6 from beyond the arc, you had Lowry of 2 of 10, Siakam 1 of 7, and Powell 1 of 6, and that was your starting unit. That's not very pretty. That's ugly. And the Raptors, they really got to find a way to make some shots. The last 3 games, they've been missing a lot of shots. Now, yes, they scored a lot of buckets. They have 118. That's very good. But you lost. It's 3 in a row now. And I know we saw a lot of Pat McCaw again today. Yeah, Nick Nurse must have saw the video and said, I'll give him more. He gave him 24 minutes. He had 7 points, couple boards, and assists on 3 of 4 shooting was Patrick McCaw. 1 of 2 from 3, but he's a -13 on the floor. And a guy like Terrence Davis, who was 3 of 5 shooting, 8 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 1 of 2 from the line, 1 of 3 from 3. He was a -6 in the 17 minutes that he played. And Matt Thomas didn't really get a chance. Played 6 minutes. Didn't really get any opportunity to play, as that continues to hurt us Raptor fans, because we see what the guy can do when he gets an opportunity. But when he's not, and a guy like Patrick McCaw is taking his place, we all have that feeling of, we don't like that. But it's the way of the road, guys. It sucks. Good news, though, Raptor fans. The Boston Celtics lost to Houston yesterday, so this loss, we're ideally in the same spot as we were yesterday, which kind of sucks because we could have gained that game. But you hit the road, you're in a tough building, altitude, injuries, everything. You had no Gasol, no Ibaka, and no Fred VanVleet today. It's hard to win games that way, especially against really, really good basketball teams. And it's going to be tough. Obviously, you're on a 5-game road trip. The next 3 games, schedule-wise, look pretty good. So if you're looking to try and ease guys back in, maybe you wait, maybe you put them in. I don't know. You got Phoenix on Tuesday night, 9 o'clock tip-off there. And then you have Golden State in Golden State. It's a 10:30 tip-off there. And obviously you have, where's the Sunday game? In Sacramento on Sunday. So the next 3 games are, record-wise, very beatable teams. Hopefully Fred VanVleet and Serge Ibaka, will be back at some point shortly. Marc Gasol, I think he had some pre-game workouts today, so that's good news for Raptor fans and seeing his progression at some point. But we miss Marc Gasol. I don't care what anybody says about his points and what he does. Any diehard Raptor fan, any Raptor fan who knows their stuff, knows how much this team misses Marc Gasol. And we're all just hoping for him to be ready for the playoffs. Ideally, that's kind of what we want in the end. But if he's 100% and he's ready to go, we want him back as soon as possible. That's basically what we want here. If he's not 100%, keep his butt on the bench. We want that guy ready to go once April and May comes around, all right? So you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and did not enjoy the ending to this game, or really the game in general, smack the like button. Do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on the video. What were your takes on Pascal's game today? I mean, do you guys agree with me? Do you not agree with me? And if not, let me know why, because I'm very curious. I love to hear what people think and hear their opinions about what happened tonight. What were your thoughts on OG, and should they have given it to him more? Because that's what I think they should have done. But what were you thinking about Powell defensively? What do you think of the Raptors? Or was it just kind of those games where you're like, you know what, you don't have your two main guys against one of their best players. What do you expect is going to happen, right? And that's kind of where I'm sitting. But credits to Denver. They played a really good basketball game. They made you pay for every mistake that you made, and they scored 133. They were ready to beat you down, and they beat you down pretty good. All right, so guys, let me know everything you want to talk about when it comes to this team, the game, everything. And Twitter's down below for myself. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. Also, the Patreon link is down below in the description, so sign up for that if you are interested. And I will talk to you guys the Leafs edition. When do they play next? It's not tomorrow. I think it's Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, Tuesday in San Jose, taking on the Sharks, 10:30 puck drop there. Frederik Andersen and Aaron Dell are the expected goaltenders in that game. The Leafs are on the 3-game Western Conference road trip. Not very daunting this year, but you can't take any team lightly. You just won 3 straight games against 3 tough teams. They have 3 teams who are not very good, so you should take care of business, but it's not going to be easy. 1 game at a time. Good news, Leaf fans. Florida lost in regulation today, 3-0 to the Calgary Flames, so the Leafs are 5 points up with no games in hand, so that's very good news for Leaf fans, but they got to take care of business, and the Leafs are in the driving seat now. You win your games, you're in the playoffs. 1 game at a time, 10:30 puck drop in San Jose. Like I said, Anderson and Aaron Dell are the goaltenders in that game. As for our Raptors, as we talked about, their next contest is on, I think it's Tuesday as well, as they are in Phoenix, taking on the Suns. It's a 9 o'clock tip-off there, as the Raptors look to get back in win column and end this mini 3-game losing streak and just feel good. Hopefully some guys are going to be back from injury, but 100% healthy, because that is really what we care about right now. All right, so thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys know the video. Talk to you guys then.